Well, we have a scary tale tonight, worthy of Halloween, only it looks like the spooks in this story might work for the government.
We've been telling you about the strange object that crashed near the Colorado River back in May and was quickly scooped up by helicopters. Residents say after the choppers came the men in black.
So who are these X-Men? The I-Team's George Knapp here with more on that story, Charles.
Well, you know, this mystery surrounding the object that fell from the sky is pretty juicy by itself, but the stories we've been hearing about these X-Men agents in their spooky vehicles takes the tale to a whole different level. Tonight we'll go on a boat ride to search for the spot where this thing crashed, but we'll also hear from river residents about their strange encounters.
Anyone that knows me knows I'm crazy.
A lot of people have been searching for Bob on the river. His occasional home at the Topak Marina is easy to miss, tucked away as it is off the road and under a bridge. When the story of the Needles UFO crash went national, Bob went underground, trying to avoid the UFO hunters who wanted him to lead them to the point of impact. The night before a network TV crew was to arrive, a large wildfire erupted and forced the evacuation of the marina. Bob wondered if someone was trying to wipe out clues at the presumed crash site. But this isn't where the UFO hit the ground.
This is the position. This is approximately where I was that night.
The I-Team rode along as houseboat Bob made his first return to the scene, approximately 5 miles upriver from Topak. Pinpointing the exact spot is difficult because he'd been floating downriver for a few hours in the middle of the night when it happened.
That's when I saw the bright turquoise, blue, green flame, and it was coming directly straight down out of the sky.
Within minutes, helicopters arrived and hauled the object away. The FAA told us it does not retain records of what might have been in the air over the river, but the I-Team obtained a single transponder reading from the morning of May 14th, confirming the presence of at least one military chopper. We also found a detachment of the Special Ops Group known as the Night Stalkers at the Henderson Airport during the same time frame. But it isn't the helicopters that have spooked Bob and other residents of the area. Rather, it's the X-Men.
There's been some strange people in town.
Needles radio station employee Paul Fick saw the mystery men and their blacked out vehicles starting the morning after the UFO crash.
But there was a truck parked down here at the end of the street, pretty much pointed at the tower behind the station. And it was one of the four-wheel drive trucks with the shell on the back that had like the bumps, radar domes, things like that. And same thing Dave saw, one of the guys, the guys that are sitting there with the sunglasses on, very stiff looking.
Beefed up utility vehicle that had some very strange equipment on the back. It was black. The shape of the back of this utility vehicle was very stealth. It had just the angles.
Radio station owner Dave Hayes saw the vehicles and the men inside on his way to work the morning of the crash, and outside his station right after Bob on the river called in to report what he'd seen. Other listeners started reporting their own sightings of the X-Men.
The fact that there were people here the next day, almost like a team, it seemed like, that they were doing either some sort of cleanup.
I was there when the phone call came in from River Bob. That,
Political organizer Tony Fagan had a face-to-face with the mystery men. The day after Bob called the radio station, Fagan was grilled by a stranger who showed up at one of her political meetings.
This gentleman came over and shook hands. He said that his name was Phil, and that he understood that I was at the radio show when all of the calls were coming in about River Bob. And did I know what had hit the water? Did I know how big it was? Did I know what color it was? And he got very frustrated when I said that I really wasn't paying attention. That
the visitor had told Tony he wanted to join the party, but after the meeting, quizzed her again about the UFO.
This guy was very crisp, kind of a military-like haircut, way too clean cut, just way too clean cut for our group.
Would the government send agents to ask questions about, say, a secret project that got out of bounds? Yes, says former intelligence colonel John Alexander.
If you're in counterintelligence and you want to protect technology, one of the things you want to know is what's out there. So asking questions of people, like what did you see, gives them a pretty good feel for, how much protection. Do we have to go and clean this up? Do we need a cover story?
If anyone has come looking for the crash site itself, they'd need Pentagon-worthy equipment to find it. With Bob's help, we narrowed down the search to this area, but did not find the spot. The riverbank is a thick, nearly impenetrable forest of salt cedar. Figuring out what it was is still a tall order.
I'd sure like to know. I thought it was a plane crash.
Not anymore.
No, sir.
On our website, we have additional information about the crash, including GPS readings, in case anyone wants to launch their own search. Good luck with that. Better bring a sturdy machete. My photographer, Matt Adams, took several trips with me down to the Needles area to look for these alleged men in black. Well, guess what? We found them. Sure enough, the vehicles look just as the eyewitnesses described them. So do the men inside. We had a roadside encounter that got very interesting in a heartbeat, and we learned these guys really do work for a secretive government agency, one that you have never heard of. We're working on that story, and we'll be back here next week to tell you what we found. And that was an interesting little adventure there.
Now back at the crash site, though. I mean, if you had gotten there soon enough, you'd be able to find, you'd think, burn marks or a depression in the dirt or something.
Yeah, keep in mind this thing happened back in May, so it's, they've had a lot of storms and things like that down there. There's a lot of undergrowth, and just that area. I mean, it's you can't walk around there. And it's wilderness, so you would need a small army to go out there and scan, and you need a lot of equipment, and then you'd have to hope that there's still something there to find. You could have an army of people out there who've already been through there looking for it, and no one would have ever seen it. So
tough.
Have at it, folks. Let me know what you find.
Yeah, can't wait to hear the follow-up.
Yeah, next week.
Thanks, George.